Now, the best part is because it has this full-blown map, you can long press anywhere on the map and just say, go here.
Go there. Yeah.
And then it kind of creates literally sort of a
path.
Yep. And it says, oops,
Oh,
there is a
hey,
wire.
This is actually good. We've got wires.
Yeah.
Good
so
check. That was not there yesterday.
That was not there yet. So it says, okay, can I go? Nope, nope. So
it's hopefully it will figure out that it has to go a different direction.
Yes.
Because it's going to have to go the long way.
So it just did.
Oh, yeah. So it just remapped itself.
Yes.
Dude, that's amazing. Hey, y'all. It's Dr. Know-It-All. I am with Mehul Nariyawala. Hope I said that close to correctly.
That was perfect.
Oh, great. CEO and founder of Matic. And they make an amazing little robot vacuum that cleans everything and does a great job. And they were kind enough to loan me one. And I'm going to do a complete review of that in the next couple of videos. But I wanted to just have a chat with you first. First of all, thank you so much for coming all the way to Athens. Nobody ever does that for me, so thank you so much for being here.
It was great excuse to come in and see the University of Georgia campus and just visit Athens. So my pleasure.
Yeah, so we're both a little bit sweaty because we were just walking around downtown Athens. Yeah. So let me start with the first question, which is that there are a plethora of quote robot vacuums, although Dr. Scott Walter will argue that they're not robots. Anyway, there's all these. Okay. Yes. So there's all these automated robot vacuums. I've owned one, I think, since 2010 or 2011. I think it was when we got our Husky. So anyway, I've had a lot. They all kind of suck in different ways. Why would you be so bold as to think, let's go and make a vacuum?
I think the reason we started out because it's our own problem. So to be clear, my partner Navneet Dalal, who is the brains behind it and actually has a PhD in computer vision. He's the co-founder and CEO. I'm president focusing on the product side. So he and I both are fathers. I have 3 kids. I have a golden retriever dog. And we just felt like, as you mentioned, all those robot vacuums sucked, for pun intended.
Actually, unfortunately, they didn't suck.
Yeah. Well, and if they did wires and toys and Legos and things like that. So it just felt like they weren't really well thought out. Or I'll take a step back. For 2002, when Roombas came out, they were brilliant. From 2002 year point of view, they were amazing. But if you fast forward 20 years with the advent of AI, we just felt like they were really behind and they were locked into this circular design and no one was thinking of it from first principles. So we just kind of said that if we had to build it today, and assume that there is no robot vacuums around, assume this robot doesn't exist, how would we do it? What would we build? And that was really just our own use case. And our background in computer vision was really the key to do this because we felt like indoor worlds, specifically homes, are built by humans for humans to fit our perception system, which is vision-based. So we feel like if you're going to build robots that behave like us, clean like us, because that is what level 5 indoor robots would be. Because level 5 self-driving car means that cars drive like humans. So in this case, they navigate, behave, clean like humans. They need a similar perception system as us. And we thought we could do it, and there was an opportunity to really start the era of robotics 2.0 from indoor perspective. And in 2018, when we were looking at this problem, we were aware of Tesla's approach, we were aware of Waymo's approach, and we just felt like what Tesla was doing for the outdoor world, someone needed to do that for the indoor world as well. And that's where the opportunity came. And there was literally 200 plus self-driving car startups back then, but not a one robotic startups for homes. And that was really perplexing to us because homes are where we do all these mundane and repetitive chores again and again. And this was obvious to us because we were at Nest prior to that and had been thinking about homes. So we just felt like there was an opportunity to do it. And if we can solve the day-to-day problems, then we can build a really good product. And it's a real need. The irony, to give you some understanding, irony of this particular category, which most of the big companies are ignoring, which specifically Googles and Amazons of the world. This category is growing 17% CAGR year over year for the last 8 years.
Wow.
Cumulative aggregated growth.
Automated indoor vacuums?
Yes, robot vacuums specifically.
Wow.
They've gone from 5.6 million sold in year 2017 to now, last year, there were probably 20 million plus robot vacuums sold worldwide.
Wow.
So they've been growing at that level, which is same as iPhone and smartphone growth after introduction of iPhone. Yet the NPS score for the whole category, Net Promoter Score, is literally -1. Which is, I've never met anyone who says robotic vacuum changed my life. Yet everyone keeps buying, which is intensity of a problem is so high, people hate cleaning their floors so much that they're willing to tolerate inferior product. So if you can genuinely build a better product, there was a huge opportunity. And we just felt like being able to give people their time back from floor cleaning and then allowing them to live in a perpetually clean home with perpetually clean floors was just a really good opportunity.
I want to ask you about the team, but I'm going to take a moment to talk. Does this kind of describe the innovator's dilemma in terms of not you, but let's say Roomba and other companies? They invented a technology that works,
Yes.
and they've been iterating on that, but unwilling to disrupt themselves because it seems like everything is just an evolution of something that's basically 20 years old.
There are two parts of it actually. One is there is an element of, hey, they've locked themselves into this flat disc shape and now you got to solve it. And if you kind of imagine, if you put a camera in a disc-shaped robot, that's like an ant-like vantage point. Versus our tall robot gives you top-down human-like vantage point. So that was one. So you have locked yourself into that limitation. But I think the bigger challenge is that typically robotics have been approached by sensors or hardware-first approach. And what we are trying to do is do it from an algorithms first approach, that we want to actually use computer vision as a starting point and work backwards, which is why very different than a typical robotist who usually start with sensors and work backwards.
Okay. So let's talk about the team then, because I think that makes a big difference as to.
Yes.
So who was the original? I assume you have more people on the team now, but who started it? Like which group of people and what were your skills?
So both me and my partner Navneet, we've worked in computer. So his PhD thesis in computer vision was back in 2005. Was the classical piece of foundational piece of classical computer vision.
Right.
Okay. His single paper has 50,000 citations.
Oh my goodness.
So it's called histogram of Fourier gradients.
Okay.
And if you take a computer vision 101, you get to learn about that.
Right.
So we had been in computer vision since 2005. And we both ended up joining this startup called Light.com, which was eventually acquired by Google back in 2010. Then we started another company, which was gesture detection over webcam, which was also acquired by Google, as it turns out. So
it's worked out well for you.
Worked out well for us. So we've been working together in computer vision for about 20 years now.
Okay.
And
what is your background specifically?
My background specifically is much more on the product side. So I jokingly say that he can build it and I can sell it. But I spend most of my time at Light.com on product marketing business side of things. So when that company got acquired, between two of us, we had enough complementary skill set to go start a company together. So that's when we did Flutter. And then I led once Flutter was acquired by Google, we transitioned over to Nest, and I led the entire Nest camera portfolio from product point of view. And
after it was acquired by Google.
After it was acquired.
So it was a subsidiary.
Yes, exactly. So Nest Cam Outdoors, Nest Cam IQs, Nest Hello Doorbell, all the products that we launched, and all the computer vision features that he launched. So we had experience in building hardware products with computer vision on the embedded device, and that's our background. That's give us a unique perspective, not only from the customer needs point of view in homes, but also what we're trying to do, which is on-device, edge device robotic stack.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. So do you want to talk? You want me to grab the bot and stick it here, and that way we can hear. Hold on. I'll go grab it.
Sounds
but
good.
I'm just saying, like, I think we should probably demo it. Like, say, like, this is what it looks like.
So,
and it is unique.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the this is the robot. Perfect.
Put this guy down here. So I think the first thing is just the shape. It's obviously very, and it's been cleaning, so it's got. But actually, considering it's been cleaning, and we have a husky at the house, so now as soon as I picked it up, there's just a husky fur everywhere. But it's a very, very different shape than this flat disc, or even. Oh gosh, not iRobot, but the other one. They have kind of a U-shape.
U-shaped,
but it's still very flat.
Yeah, and it's by design. So I'll kind of flip it this way so you can see it. But it's by design. So first thing we did was this thought experiment that let's imagine taking Roombas, and let's imagine we have a teleporting machine and we send it back to 60s and ask people what is it.
Yeah.
There is a good chance they won't be able to guess that it's a robot or a vacuum.
Right.
So first thing we wanted to do was make a robot that looked like a robot, that purpose was clear. Then give it a much more of sort of a friendly rounded corner shape, because in home you have pets and kids and you didn't want to look very scary.
Well, and even walls and things, you don't want to bash into a wall and
get a dent
in the wall. So
Then we give it a cleaning head, which is rectangular, similar to your upright vacuum, because the idea was upright vacuums haven't gone circular, because if a rectangular cleaning head is good for edges and corners. So having that sort of cleaning head gives users confidence that it's a cleaning robot and it cleans well. Then as we did research, we realized that Roombas were built for a world that was wall-to-wall carpets. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, our homes were wall-to-wall carpets. So small wheels were fine. Now it's much more thick pile rugs and hard surfaces.
And transitioning between them and
everything. So that's where bigger wheels became a big piece of the puzzle, that if you create a bigger wheels, then it can almost like SUV, it can go over various terrain. That also meant that cleaning head had to have a clearance below it. So that's where cleaning head moves up and down.
Right, and if you don't, like, this is on a pivot, so it actually can go down all the way up. So
Exactly. And you'll see that on the side, it actually curves up, and that's because the front part of it here is the vacuum, and it's the brush roll, and this is the first of its kind hair tangle-free brush roll.
And I just want to make a note of this. This has cleaned the house maybe 4 times since we've got it. There's not any hair. And that is impossible. Every other one has always had hair.
Yeah.
And I also want to just make a quick note. I'm not doing my review here, but this is very cool. And I actually, it got stuck. The mop head just pops out right here.
Yep.
And it got, I think there was some dirt in it. But anyway, I opened up the app and it immediately said, this is the problem. Here's the tutorial. It said, so it was just instant. It was so easy.
Thank you, appreciate it. And that was the idea, that can we make it simple? So we didn't want people to sort of flip the robot and try to cut it. So and the intention was that it's not only just about the intelligence, which is you have to have intelligence. We have this amazing brain, but if you didn't have a hand or fingers, we wouldn't be able to make sense of it. So in the same way, we wanted robot to see where it is, but also have a hardware that can actually clean very well. So the front part of it is vacuuming, the back part of it's mopping. When it's vacuuming, it doesn't, mop roll wouldn't touch because it's high up there. And when it mops, as you noticed, it actually swings a cleaning head this way so that it can get a grip contact.
Because I don't know if folks have had the kinds that supposedly do the vacuuming and mopping, but what they do is they just drag a wet mop brush behind the vacuum, and it just spreads dirt everywhere.
So what we did is we not only this a brush roll, but there is, as you mentioned, there is a wringer inside it.
Yes.
And that wringer actually squeezes dirt and dirty water out, and both of them go into this HEPA bags right here. And then here's the water tank where you put little water and the liquid. And the reason we did this is because few things we realized, which is one was this principle that it should clean well.
Right.
But a cleaning robot shouldn't pollute our homes with noise. So we wanted to make it very quiet. The second thing was that it should also not you shouldn't have to kind of have a huge giant dock, because space is, in some homes you have a lot of space, in other places it's very premium, especially if you live in New York and other places. So we heard from many customers that they actually don't want a dock that actually makes noise. And I don't know if you've ever used one of those vacuums, but in my home with kids, it feels like a rocket launch taking off. And my dog would go nuts.
About the ones that have the thing that empties a can.
Yes. It's like a vacuum that
2 o'clock in the morning, it'll wake you up.
Exactly. It's like a vacuum that cleans a vacuum. And that just felt like a very inelegant solution to us. So we wanted to make it very friendly, that it should decorate home, it should be friendly with kids, just feel like it. So that was the idea. And then this black part is the crown. That's the entire sensor stack. There's 2 cameras in the front, 2 cameras in the back. We had a display, so it tells you exactly what's going on. 1 camera on the top, and then we have 4 microphone arrays. And then this part is the IR light, so it sees at night completely in a pitch dark and works fine. So just basically very simple human-like cameras and algorithms, and that's it. And everything happens on the device, on the edge device, so no data ever leaves your home.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before we started recording, because my wife, misinformation, was like, oh, this thing's making a map of my home, because it does. The first thing it does, and it's how many inches? I don't know how many.
It's about 8 inches.
Yeah, so it's a toddler crawling sort of level.
Yeah, toddler crawling level, and then map itself is about 1 feet.
Yeah, so basically the bottom foot of your house gets mapped in color, really cool. And she was like, but wait, this is going to be shipped off someplace to nefarious purposes, and it doesn't. It just stays in your home, and so that's a big point. So I think it's important to talk about that.
And there was a part of the design that, the way to think about it is, we as humans don't have hive minds. We actually have a robot brain, and we adjust to each home as we kind of learn the map of it. So in the same exact way, we wanted to build a robot that kind of learned per home very precisely, and instead of having a hive mind. And the second part was that if it kept everything on the device, then it can adjust very fast. So privacy is a big deal, but also latency. Which is, you don't want to build a robot that says, oops, I fell down the stairs because internet is low, or oops, I ran into your kid because power went down. So that was the point, that latency was a huge piece of the puzzle, and also that indoor world is far more dynamic, which is in our homes constantly change if you have kids. So having everything on the device
right here is like wandering around below.
So then it constantly maps, and it doesn't need to rely on a cloud to do that. So everything was built from the perspective that this is a member of the home. It comes in, protects your privacy, cleans very well, and hopefully belongs in your home. in a very friendly way. So that was the design.
And it's very cute. And I think it's important. I'll get those things in just a second. I want to talk about the sensor stack.
Yes.
But there's some lovely little treats that you get with the bot. It's very adorable.
Thank you.
But so obviously it's got a little display up here, but I haven't really. I guess I did have to use it one time. It paused because it ran out of water.
Correct.
And it said pause, fill up the water.
Correct.
And so it was easy. But normally I just look on my phone or something because the app is great.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the app works fantastic with it.
Thank you.
But yeah, so let's talk about the sensor stack.
Yes.
And, this is using VSLAM.
Yes.
But, I mean, and you're going to be like, oh, that's 2002. The original the original one didn't, but the eventual ones,
yes.
some around 2010
Yes.
or
Yes.
so.
Yes.
But VSLAM is old. And that means visual simultaneous location and mapping. I was like, what could be? But anyway, so that just means you're able to see around it. What is the difference with this? Because it behaves really differently from a standard robot.
So there are two pieces of the puzzle. So one is we primarily take images and use neural networks to turn it into voxels using VSLAM.
I did notice that it looks very much like a 3D representation.
Exactly. So each instead of a pixel, we have a 1 by 1 centimeter, 1 by 1 by 1 centimeter cube, which is a voxel. So it's like a
Does that include
three-dimensional
the empty
pixel.
space when it's doing the scanning? Okay, so
Correct.
it does understand this is empty space.
That's
There's
correct.
nothing here.
That's correct. Yeah. So it is semantics. So there is a voxel-based thing that we built.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, specifically on VSLAM, what we realized, and this is probably in hindsight one of the mistakes or one of the sort of things we underestimated. We assumed that VSLAM has been around because mathematically it's been solved, theoretically it's been solved since the mid-80s.
Yeah.
So we assume that we'll be able to use open source version of it. Turns out every single VSLAM implementation prior to what we were done was rudimentary or sort of 80% accurate at best. Right. The analogy that I always use to kind of explain this is imagine like if you were alive before iPhone, because iPhone has been around for a while now. Touch interfaces were there since 95 to 2008 with stylus. Yes. Yeah. And those touch interfaces, people used to smack their stylus, or you had to jab your finger with all the power.
It was almost like a plastic. You could feel it deforming as you would like.
Exactly. It was terrible. So they were around, but they just weren't that great. And then iPhone comes around, it's a silky smooth, and now all the touch interfaces are just beautiful. Right. So in the same exact way, VSLAM has been around, but all the implementation were just not that great. Yeah. And we finally, I want to, if I were to claim, I would say that we've got 4 nines of accuracies with VSLAM, which I don't think anyone in the world has. Wow. So
it's order of magnitude. Neural networks, or I mean, I know you have HDR cameras, right? Because they're high dynamic range, they can see in the dark.
That's correct. But
yeah, go ahead.
No, a lot of neural networks and some of the neural networks techniques do matter. So we sort of have a combination of classical VSLAM techniques and neural network techniques, but a lot of it is also just grind. Yeah. And what I mean by that is. It was literally just sit there and keep solving bugs after bugs after bugs and getting to a point. So it's like taking anything 0 to, if you're trying to build 0 to 1 product, 0 to 80 is 1x the effort. Yeah. 80 to 90 is 2x, 90 to 95 is 3x, and 95 onwards is there. So it was really just 3 years of iterating continuously and figuring out what works, what doesn't, and constantly optimizing it. Right.
Okay. How big is the team now in terms of numbers?
In terms of numbers, about 60 people.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any external funding, or have you self-funded the whole thing?
No. We have external funding. We raised about $30 million altogether externally.
Huge. Okay.
And we've invested quite a bit of our own fund money as well. So
I think that's good because you have skin in the game now.
Correct.
Right? You're like, you really wanted to succeed.
This was always life's work. We didn't have to go do another product. We really, like another startup, we were at Google, we were set, but we had this itch that we want to build what we refer to as, think of it as an iconic product. An iconic product has 2 characteristics. One is it comes to the market and changes the perception of what's possible, or sort of reimagines things, which is what this robot was meant to do. But second is it's also useful, not just cool. Yeah. And that was really critical because first startup we did Flutter was gesture detection over webcams. It was like Microsoft Connect, but just using simple cameras. Right. And we learned the hard way that no one wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm going to buy gestures. Versus people do wake up and say, hey, I just need to keep my floor clean and I need either a robotic vacuum or a vacuum. So that was the thing that let's solve a real problem. And that's where this idea came, and we just felt like there was a huge opportunity to do it in a very different way, because self-driving cars, to give some clarity to people out there who may not understand the point of VSLAM, if you're trying to build self-driving cars, you have Google Maps and you have GPS. Yes. So GPS tells car where it's located and Google Maps tells car where it's going. Right. In indoor environment, how does robot know whether it's on the right side of the couch or the left side of the couch?
Right.
There is no GPS, there is no map.
Right.
So that's where VSLAM is really critical, and it gives an ability for robot to do what we do, which is explore the home, build a map, and then at the same time locate itself on that map.
Right. And I think, I think going back to the driving analogy is an important analogy because Tesla, several years ago, I think it was AI Day 2022.
Yes.
A long time ago now.
Yes.
But they talked about occupancy networks for the first time.
Yes.
Or maybe it was actually at the conference before that. But anyway.
Yes.
So they've been dealing with this, but a lot of that was a voxel-based thing and like thinking differently about the space around you and the dynamics of driving.
Yes.
A car can pull out in front of you. I mean, it's the same thing. A dog or a child or something can run in front of the robot. Correct. It's got to be able to react very rapidly.
Correct. Honest answer is that Tesla is an inspiration to us. The FSD team is an inspiration. We have both Ashok and Dhaval are users of actually
they are?
Matic. Yes, so we're quite happy with that.
Like I'm in a rare company. So that's cool.
So it's good. We just send them one just to see. But occupancy network that they shared was a huge unlock for us, to be honest. That is the similar thing. So we have 4 main things that we combine. One is image to voxel network. The second one is long-term SLAM that works in night and daytime, any lighting condition. The third one is bird's eye view network. So just like this sees the world from top down 45-degree angle vantage point, just the way we do, and then is able to navigate and create obstacles, and then obviously the controls piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and I do notice like when you look at the app, you can see it, and you can see it driving around, and it has kind of a little bird's eye of itself driving around.
Exactly.
So why the up camera?
Good question. So up camera typically. A lot of people assume that up camera is because we're doing VSLAM, but using sealing. And there is an element of that, but that's not really there. The reason we did it is more because if the robot is fully autonomous and truly behaves like humans, then it should understand voice and gestures like humans. Okay. So sometimes you have a husky, I had a golden retriever, so sometimes I would see a ball of hair and I'm like, wait, why can't I just tell robot to clean here? Yeah. And can I just point to it? Because I would do that to another human being if they were helping me.
I have not tried that stuff yet.
Yes, it's coming. It's a coming feature.
Okay, yeah.
So that's where the 4 microphones are, which is the 4 microphones allows us to know where the voice is coming.
So if you say clean over here, it will localize that to over here.
That's correct. So it just says, you say, hey, Matic, and it will turn your way as if it's looking at you. And then this camera sees where it's coming from and sees the gestures and human being and then say, okay, I'm going to actually go over that side. Okay. Yeah, so that's what the top camera is for.
That's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's able to see, like the ones that are on the ground, the only way I've seen is they have a little LiDAR that sticks up and it kind of spins around and it does kind of a slam thing. But it's not, this is just much more elegant because it's only using cameras. It's just like a person. And the cool part is since it's got, eyes on the front and the back, it can mop backwards, which means you're not doing things like you're running over your own dirt and stuff like that when it's vacuuming. So I think it's amazing.
And back camera, and it just basically, if it goes into a narrow space, it needs to come out. So having just like a car, having eyes in the back actually helps it quite a bit. And that's what we try to do the deal. But the part that we are excited about and the way we thought about was also just use self-driving car analogy. We had this vision that if level 5 cars means that cars drive like human. Tesla FSD V13 is getting there. It just drives like us and we're all mesmerized, right? So in the same exact way, what does it mean to have a level 5 robot for homes? Right. And what does a level 5 robot, floor cleaning robot means? Right. So the idea was that it cleans and behaves like humans. So if it cleans like humans, well, why is it on the dock 23 hours a day? Yeah. Maybe throughout the day, it should take off once in a while and look for dirt and dirty spots. And if it finds it, just clean it. So having a vision-based system allows us to look at top-down and see dirt. And many times the way we see dirt is we just say, oh, this looks different than it looked yesterday. And that's how we do. We just do delta.
I have a husky, and so it's usually there's a clump of fur right
yes.
there. Everything looks different, but it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, so it's like so that was the thing, that just being able to see what the vision was, that was the first piece of the puzzle. Then we're like, okay, if it cleans like human, well, we don't take the vacuum out of the closet and clean right beside the closet. So it getting off the dock and cleaning besides the dock is stupid. It should know which part of the home gets dirty and then work backwards. So it needs to learn that over time, right? So if there is a doggy door, maybe clean there 10 times a day, or near the front door, clean there 10 times a day, but underneath the bed, maybe once a week or once a month is enough. So prioritize.
So yeah, that's one of the most frustrating aspects, honestly, of the other vacuums is they'll make a mistake and then they make it literally over, like
same thing over and over again. Exactly.
It would get the edge of the carpet and
yes.
it would get itself
yes.
stuck like in one spot.
Yes.
Every
single day.
time. And
yes.
it's like, good gracious, just learn.
Yes.
Like, if this thing learns, it goes like, I won't make that mistake again. It's like, thank you.
Yes, yes.
So,
And that is part of the intelligence, right? Which is intelligence. What makes us intelligence is our ability to learn from mistakes. It's not that we don't make mistakes ever. So in the same exact way, we have two concepts here. One is that can it learn, and also when it makes a mistake, can it gracefully fail?
exactly.
And
I like that. That's always my term. Can
Yeah.
it gracefully fail?
Can it gracefully? And so, for example, we have a pretty good wire detection for this robot, but we get tangled up in wire. So once in a while, it is bound to make a mistake. So we have built an algorithm where it actually recognizes any sort of jams, reverses itself, and slowly backs out. And most of the time, it corrects itself, so user doesn't have to intervene. And that's the idea.
I actually noticed that because I have a weird little, this is a corner case for
Yes.
me. I actually leave my laptop plugged in here, and so the wire hangs like right about here.
Yes.
And it ran into it.
Yes.
Took it and it put it in, but then it unwound itself and backed out. So it did actually unplug it, but which was whatever, but it did it successfully undid itself.
Yeah.
I was like, well, there's a corner case for you.
Yeah.
That's not on the ground.
It's not on the ground. It's slightly high above. Yes. So there are little things like that where we need to keep working on it and keep improving. But the great part about neural net-based approach is that it will keep getting better. Just to give you an understanding, since we started shipping production robot in November, we've shipped 25 app updates and about 22 different releases. And in next 6 months, just like Tesla or any other over-the-air updates, it will get significantly better because it's not about the sensors; it's really just the software updates.
And that was an important thing too, because one of the things you have to do with iOS is I can't remember the name of it. The thing
Test flight.
Test flight, yes. Test flight. So basically, it allows you to just push software updates, because otherwise it takes like a week to go through Apple, and it's just a pain in the butt. Yes, I was used to program for Apple, and I
the pain.
that. Oh
yes.
my God, it's terrible.
Now, just for the users, our app is in App Store now. So they can actually download it directly from App Store. They no longer have to go Test Flight, but Test Flight will always give you a version faster than the App Store, because first it will get pushed to Test Flight and then it will get pushed.
And do you have an Android version on the way?
It's on the way. It's on the way. We just started working on it. So even though on our website it says Q3, there's a good chance we'll have a version in about 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that's great.
That's the next goal.
Okay. So the really big question is, does this thing have a speaker in addition to the microphones?
It does.
Oh yes. Because I was like, the one thing it's missing is some cute little thing.
Sounds, yes. So if you notice, one of the things we did is it says, hello, when it actually rolls out of the box, right?
And that'll be part of the review. I did that. You push it and it just rolls off the box. It's like the coolest thing.
Let us know. We'll set it up for you so you can kind of do it again. And what we want to do is eventually add a couple of things where the cleaning head sort of actuates up and down as if to say wave, say hello, and then maybe add a little voice. So we just haven't gotten to it yet. It's just sequential little things that we got to do. Yeah.
So, and then as much as you want to talk about the future roadmap, I know we had discussed it. I don't know how much you want to talk about it.
Sure.
But I don't know. What do you want to say? It has to do with height. That seems to be part of it.
Yeah. So one of the things we kind of talked about was, as I mentioned, our approach to building Rosie the robot, which is the future every one of us want, a full, Alfred-like butler that just does everything for us. Our approach is, instead of jumping straight to humanoid, which may take, in my opinion, at least another 5-10 years before they become pretty ubiquitous. They're extremely complex. And manipulation.
There's an assumption on the user's part too. It's an expensive product. It has to do X, Y, and Z for me. So you can start with something that's cheaper.
Yes.
And,
So and if you have a human form, we actually expect it to be far more intelligent as well, and
be able to cook for you and things like that, which is it's a big ask.
And it's like we will get to that future. It's a Tesla FSD like effort, which would take a little bit a while, or self-driving car like effort will take a while. So our approach was to instead do what humans also do, which is grow a kid. So this is like a 5-year-old crawling child. It learns, because in first 5 years of a human child's life, they learn how to navigate and see the world in 3D and be able to understand. But they still don't know all the semantics. They don't know what the plant is or what the chair is or things like that. Slowly, they add that vocabulary. Between 5 to 10, as they start growing, they start seeing world with a higher vantage point, and then they're able to do basic manipulation, which is they can clean their toys or move shoes around or get their backpacks, but we still don't trust them to cook or cut vegetables or deal with knives and stuff. Exactly, scissors. And then when they're 15, we trust them with everything. So in the same exact way, we feel that it's better to do a 3-step approach, where first it's just a floor cleaning robot, and next evolution is, as we are pushing this robot into many homes, a lot of parents are saying, can you just give me a toy cleaning robot? because if I just had a robot that cleaned Legos and toys, I'd be a happy person. Or the other use case we weren't even thinking about was a lot of customers came and say, hey, this robot has cameras. I can control it remotely. Can I put it in my parents' home in Florida? Because they're old.
Oh, and use it as kind of just a not security, but
just monitoring device.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't even want them to actually control the robot to clean. I'll clean it. But because it's useful robot, they won't think of it as a big brother. They'll think of it as a robot that helps helpful. And then you have cameras, so maybe you just give me a kind of like a 10-second time lapse every evening saying that they're good, they're okay. So that was an interesting use case. So there are use cases like this, and that's what we do. We actually start with the use case first and work backwards. And this is really another hard-learned lesson, because while we were doing Flutter back in the days, we were part of Y Combinator. And Paul Graham was still around, and Paul Graham would look at us and he would always tell us that, oh, you guys are technology looking for a problem to solve. Have you found one yet?
That's a very important point.
Exactly. So, which is, we were kind of joking around that if there was a fight club for robotics, consumer robotics, the number one rule of building a consumer robotics company is do not build a consumer robotics company, build a product company. Because no one wants robots, they want solution to their problems. Robotics is just a means to an end, right? So AI and humanoids are still just a way to solve a problem. The critical part is which problem you're focused on and whether it's valuable enough for you to solve.
Well, and I think this kind of circles back to the beginning, which is the other automatic vacuums. The problems that they had or have still is they don't really solve the problem. We have a desperate need. We're like, please clean the house, especially if you have kids, dogs, etc. They just don't do a good job. And the thing that I'm going to do, like I said, a full review. But the big thing, the first takeaway of this was, it's like, I don't think about it. I mean, it's adorable because it drives around, but it hardly makes any sound because it's very quiet, and it doesn't have problems. It just figures it out. Except for once in a while, if the bag is full or if the water's out, that's about it. But aside from that, it just does its thing, and so I don't really have to pay attention to it.
And that's what. And just like, and we measure that actually, just like in self-driving cars, people measure disengagements, right, per miles driven. In the same exact way, we kind of measure disengagement or forced intervention or stuck per amount of square feet it cleans. And we actually try to make sure that it's there. So we're closing in now with we've shipped about 700 plus robots to customers. With that, we're closing at about 10 million square feet cleaned.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And usage has been phenomenal. People are loving it, so that's really great.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So it's been great, and this is the part that is very hard for a lot of people to understand is that at 700, we're already the second largest American consumer robotics company after Roomba and iRobot. Because Shark Ninja is still part of a Chinese company, and everything else is Asian or Chinese brands. So if you kind of think of American robots, that's really it. There is no other consumer robots out there. Even mighty Boston Dynamics, last I heard, things might have changed. They're amazing and they have great technology, but they've only shipped about 1,500 robots in their entire lifetime. So
this is, I meant to talk about this a little bit earlier. I don't want to go too far off field, but number one, this has got a Jetson Orin.
Correct. NVIDIA Jetson Orin.
So it's a very, very sophisticated brain, basically.
Yes.
And that allows you, what's the size of memory in there? Is it 8 gigs? Or is
4 gigs, actually.
4 gigs. Oh, that's pretty small.
That's pretty
small.
small.
You have to hyper-quantize your neural network and
run very efficiently, push it there. And the reason is not because we wanted to make our lives hard. It's really just trying to build affordable robots because NVIDIA and the computes are still expensive for consumer use case.
Well, and plus the fact a more substantial board will require more power too.
Correct. Exactly.
You're always dealing
battery
with
is
this
there.
Energy budget.
Exactly. Now, luckily, vacuum itself takes a lot of power, so still compared to NVIDIA, so that's good. But there is an element of how big of a map we can build. So we can easily do 5,000 square feet. We've just with 4 GB memory, we've mapped our entire 24,000 square feet office as well.
Wow.
But it does get slower. As I mentioned earlier, we can do 1 centimeter voxels. If we have a higher computes, we can go down to about 5 millimeters.
Wow.
And this crown, just like a human child, will grow. And as it grows, it captures the full information. So technically, if we have a demo where we held this crown in our hand and just walked around and built a full 360 view of the entire room.
That's cool.
And just with the 6 degrees
like
of freedom.
a human would do.
Exactly. And very early on, the thought was that if we can give robots eyes Then if it can see it, it can navigate it. If it can see it, it can clean it. If it can see it, it can manipulate it, avoid it, everything. So it's really just about the vision. And then most people don't realize, but 60% of our brain power is just going to visual cortex.
Right.
So mostly we are vision-based animals, not necessarily other sensors.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's very important. And again, like I said, the really just remarkable thing, the other robotics companies have said like, hey, you can run this at night. No, you cannot.
You cannot.
They'll bump into things, they'll cry, they'll like make a lot of noise. This, you can actually do it.
Yes.
I have it set to like start at 6 o'clock in the morning before we even wake up, and it already has a couple of rooms done before we even get up.
That's correct.
Which is great. And it's
mine is at 2 a.m.
2 a.m. Okay,
2 a.m.
I'm going to get more bold. I was a little bit scared.
That's okay. No, totally get it. We did it at 2 a.m. partly because I was like, you know what, I that's the deep sleep. I don't want to hear it. And it depends on a home, right? We have a ranch style home, so bedrooms are a little far away, so it's easier to run. But
yeah, I mean, what I might do is have it clean the main area at 2 o'clock in the morning and then save the bedrooms because I don't really want it driving around by the bed.
Correct.
But but that's also really cool. And so does it do the current thing where it will actually just leave the docking panel, drive around? It already does that. So
no, that's coming. So that's coming. So few things that we are working on now that the foundation is built. So just with the last release, we finally shipped a feature that allows it to go underneath the toe kicks.
I noticed that. So it wouldn't do that, but then I noticed it did do that.
It did do that, yes. So edge cleaning and space under the kitchen cabinets. And we're doing that separately because we realized that if we can give control to robots, a lot of people, when we did user research, John, we realized that a lot of people actually do not want robot to just clean on its own. They want to tell it exactly where to clean, what to clean, and when to clean. Sometimes need is that I don't want you to clean the entire kitchen. I just want you to clean toe kicks or space underneath the kitchen cabinets. Or I just want you to clean edges. So we are creating those separate algorithms so user can actually create a control over it and it shows what it's doing. So that's what we just enabled. Now the next we are trying to build, as we talked about, this entire network, which is what's floor and what's not floor. And that way it avoids papers and crayons and anything flat. So I had a problem where I live in a cul-de-sac with a little boondocks behind in mountain area. So I have a lot of mice problem. And a lot of traditional robots would get onto those glue traps and get stuck on them as well because they're trying to go encounter. So there are a lot of random items people have on their floor and we want to avoid it. And that's where what's floor, what's not floor gives us an understanding of what's cleanable and what's not cleanable. So if it's a piece of paper, notebook, don't clean it.
And again, it can be highly dynamic because, if your kids or your dog take toys and they scatter them around, that wasn't there yesterday.
Exactly.
Now it's there. So,
exactly. Or sometimes people build these huge puzzles on the floor and they don't want those puzzles to get sucked up or kind of driven over as well, right?
Or sometimes your dog.
That's the thing, exactly.
And, you really don't want that TikTok video of your vacuum like driving through the
Yes. And so that's where the network is. Then we're going to teach it what is dirt and what is not dirt, so it can do dirt detection. And you can, because if you have a wine stain versus a ketchup stain, ketchup stain is much thicker, so it requires 12 passes. Because if you're cleaning it,
you know this.
If you're cleaning it, you go back and forth. But if it's wine stain or coffee stain, you can actually get away with 6 passes.
Okay.
So it needs to know that stain is gone.
Extra information for everybody.
So stain detection, stain cleaning, mopping till it's gone. All those features are sort of coming, and then ultimately, this idea is that if it has things that it knows easily movable, maybe it can push things out of the way.
Right.
If there's a shoes in the middle of the room,
you can just kind of push them to the side.
That
would be nice too.
Exactly.
It's already beginning to be a little cleanup robot.
That's correct. So tidying up. So all those features are coming, and the most one that I'm super excited about is the voice and gestures, which is can you just tell it, hey Matic, go clean kitchen. Hey Matic, go clean living room. And then the last one, which is that ties into this, is what we're doing now is that we have each voxel. We're extracting embeddings and visual information from VLMs, vision language models, and adding to at a voxel level. So each voxel would know that it belongs to a chair leg or a robot toy
so
or
it has
a door.
semantic information.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the way to think about it is at the moment, robot has same intelligence as our cats and dogs, which it can navigate around bumping, but we can't tell our cat to say, go ling in a living room couch. They don't know that understanding. But we want to give that understanding to robots, so then you can say, go into living room and clean around coffee table. Or go into office and clean around bookcase. And you can give a very specific instructions. And that allows us to get to the ultimate goal that we have, which is instead of an app, which is visual and a map, maybe there is just a chat window, just like a chat GPT where you can just tell it what to do and it just works.
Yeah, even from your office at school or something, it's like,
Yes.
oh, I forgot I wanted it to clean the kitchen.
Correct.
It's like, hey, clean the kitchen.
Clean
Which
kitchen.
you can already do by basically opening the app and clicking on the room that's the kitchen and telling
Yes.
it.
But it just makes it very natural that it powers the information that, hey, while you clean.
I think the best interface is a voice interface. You don't even need the app. You're just like,
Yes.
hey, clean the house or clean
That's
the
correct.
kitchen. Or
That's
so.
correct.
So let me ask you one question. We have a 2-story house. We have a downstairs.
It maps.
It will map that. So I
It
haven't
will
tried it yet. So if I take it downstairs and tell it to map that,
Yes.
will it do it as a new?
Yes, correct. So if you take it downstairs and go to map settings, it will say add a new map, and it adds a new map.
Okay.
So there is a feature, and it doesn't need to it, but that makes it simpler. It can automatically recognize that it's in a different location and start building. But that was a little confusing to users, so we just add a new map as a signal.
Right.
And once it does it, it can save multiple maps. It can save up to even 10 maps. It doesn't matter. And as you move between floors, it would actually automatically reload based on each floor it has. So you don't even have to say, go to the first floor map or load the first floor map or second floor map. If you just go and pick it in there, it just automatically figures out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So multi-map support is already there. It just works. Yeah.
Well, do you want to show us a couple of tricks with
Yes.
this thing?
Yes,
Okay,
let's
before
do
we
that.
do that, though, I got to show you this. Everybody's got to see this because I think this is adorable.
Yeah. So
You all have a little bit of elan, I guess. A
Yeah.
little bit of fun. So along with your Matic, you get, which I haven't put together yet because it's 7 at a time.
Yeah,
You get a little Lego version of it. Little 3D printed keychain,
Yep.
and you can decorate your Matic. By the way, ours is called Wally, which is
Wally?
probably,
Perfect.
probably not very unique, but
That's awesome.
I thought Wally was funny. So,
No,
so
we
you have
will-
like a hello, my name is, and you can put Wally and put it on the side so you know, or on the
That's
top.
on the top. And this was done for 2 reasons. One is that people love to name it as well, and we're actually going to allow you to name it in the app itself very soon. So that's coming. But the second one was,
That's already there. I think I named it.
oh, then we might have just shipped it then. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so that's good. So we might have just shipped it. Then second one is we realized that a lot of kids initially are slightly apprehensive. So having this sticker actually, and them putting the sticker makes it very friendly. Once they put sticker on it and they recognize it, it feels very comforting to them.
And
So-
I didn't bring them over, but there's little googly eyes too, which
Yes.
I think we'll put on it.
Yes.
Have little silly eyes.
And then even little kids are just very friendly with it. In fact, we have an opposite problem. A lot of people are requesting that we create a lock for this power button because
the kids come by and push it.
yes, kids and pets are so friendly that they just keep pushing it.
Oh, do pets actually learn how to
Yeah,
do that?
pets. Like we had a customer whose cat was just kept knocking it
You're
because
probably going to have to add a time delay of like 3
Yes.
seconds or something. You have to hold it down.
That's correct.
That's very, very funny.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So it's the things that you didn't anticipate that are there, but yeah.
But so why this? Are you?
I think it's just fun. Just for first part was fun, but second part was this idea that at least with the early customers, they are usually very enthusiastic about stuff. So this was our way of saying thank you, welcome them, and then kitchen, and this was more along the line that if you personalize it, then it feels that it belongs in your home, that it's your thing, and that ownership piece of the puzzle is really critical. And a lot of people do it anyway. So the idea came because some of our early customers actually started printing stickers and stuff and putting it on their own.
Right.
One customer actually put a little hat on it as well.
Ooh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a little cowboy hat. So that's how we got the idea that, oh, people are doing it anyway. Maybe we can just make it easier by supplying the stickers.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
So I love it.
So few quick part of it. I don't know if you've tried the plane feature here. So it kind of gives you a full understanding of your
Geez,
home.
I have not looked into this app far enough.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So it just gives you sort of bird's eye view of the 3D home.
Yeah.
You can zoom in, pan, tilt, everything. So it kind of shows you exactly where the robot is.
That's what the airplane. I thought that was like airplane mode, and I didn't want to like touch it.
No. That's it's just sort of a flyover
That's
thing, and
super
you can
cool.
see
Yeah.
we're appearing dynamically right
There
here.
it is right there.
Yep.
There it is right there.
As you move, and then this is the semantic view. I don't know if you saw this as well or
No,
not.
I have not looked at
So,
that.
so this kind of gives you hard floor and then carpet as it recognizes, and it gives you full
So
understanding.
which one
of
is that one? That's the
second
layers.
button. Yes,
Okay,
the
okay, got
layers.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this kind of gives you different vantage points. If you just wanted to follow the robot, this is the following the robot. Now the best part is because it has this full-blown map, you can long press anywhere on the map and just say go here.
Go there. Yeah.
And then it kind of creates literally sort of a
path.
Yep. And it says, oops,
Oh,
there is a
hey,
wire.
This is actually good. We've got wires.
Yeah,
Good
so it
check.
didn't-
That was not there yesterday.
That was not there yet. So it says, okay, can I go? Nope. So
So it's hopefully it will figure out that it has to go a different direction.
yes.
Because it's
So it
going
will-
to have to go the long way.
So it just did.
Oh yeah, so it just remapped itself.
Yes.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yes.
That is very cool.
So that was we got the
That
live
was a really good
detection
test
of
as
it.
it turned out. Unexpected, but yes.
So that was the part. So that's one of the cool parts. I'll just stop it for now. It's kind of going there.
Yeah.
The other cool part which I showed you. So let's switch back to the visual map. And let's say you had some dirt somewhere on this carpet.
Right.
Now what I can do is I can say clean area, tap on this pencil, and just circle and say clean this. Please.
Right. Okay.
And if I just say vacuum, it will just go back and say, okay, I'm going to clean that area.
Right. And can you tell it vacuum, and I guess for the
you can tell it vacuum, and mop.
Right.
If you say both,
Yeah.
it will start doing it, but then automatically realize that I can't mop.
Oh, good. So it does I mean,
Yes.
it's really good when it does the initial mapping.
Yeah.
It like kind of hashes off the areas that
so
are.
if you say
carpets.
both, it automatically knows that on a carpet I
Right.
can't map.
And we can see, and there's actually some obstacles here that weren't there yesterday either. 'Cause
So-
these little basket thing he's got there, but that's cool. So it's just there.
and they
pencil.
appear live, real time, like on this
yeah.
map. It's very easy to see. Now, what's
Right.
cool is that if I were to sort of slightly slide them out, so
Right.
maybe if I moved this basket slightly
Yeah.
over.
Hi, Kona.
Oh yeah, and there we go. So now they will actually disappear, and it will, as it moves around, they're disappearing on the map.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it will actually go and clean in that area as well.
Okay, so even if it was initially blocked, it will figure it out.
That's correct. So especially with pets and kids, that was really critical because sometimes pets and kids are there.
Right.
So it sort of remembers that, hey, I didn't clean in this area, so let me go and try to do it. So that was the cool part about it. So
Cool.
Kona is very comfortable.
Yes.
It's quiet. We can easily chat. Gives you quick ETA, shows you exactly what it's
Right.
clean. So that's really cool part.
The ETA is really nice too.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because like when it starts to clean, it's like it's going to take 2 hours or whatever. So yeah.
And then
which is
just
great.
like self-driving cars, it also knows that, okay, if I need to charge, I can pick up where it left off. So
exactly.
It does those things really well as well.
Yep.
And then one quick trick is, let me just pull this here. So we'll go back to the 3D map.
Yep.
Now it's on this carpet, right? I'm gonna have you hold it with the thing. And what I'll do is, so now robot doesn't know where it is. All the cameras are covered.
Right.
I will pick it up
And move it somewhere else.
and let's move it to your
it's a
kitchen.
mystery. How long does it take it to figure out where it lives?
Okay. Now, so look at your app.
Oh, right. So it still thinks it's in the living room. So
Correct.
yep.
Correct.
Okay.
As I move this out of the way.
Let's
And
see. We got both.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will, there we go. And it actually figured it out.
Yep. Now it is over there. That's amazing.
So it just
it figured
figured
out. That is really impressive. Like Insta.
And that
That's super cool.
is one of the hardest problem in computer vision and robotics, which is literally referred as a kidnap problem. That if you kidnap a robot, can you figure out where it is?
Right. But that's also important too if it goes downstairs, because if I place it downstairs, it needs to know it's downstairs. now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So just like human being, it needs to know where it is, and then it
Right.
can actually navigate its own way back to the dock or anything around it. And
Right.
that's critical because especially in a different lighting conditions, as the environment changes, it actually needs to know. So it doesn't matter whether it mapped, in a sunny day or low light day.
Right.
It will figure out.
Yeah, actually, it just given the timing, it was at night, so it was rather dark. So it was just a bunch of lights in here. And today, clearly, very different lighting because it's nice outside.
It's super nice. So that was the idea, and that was the critical piece of the puzzle because that now you can tell it exactly where to go. So visual map, being able to know precisely where it is, are all part of the reasons why it can actually do what it's doing.
Do you have any final things to say? I mean, we'll cut into some stuff with doing tricks. Like, what do you want to tell us?
If I were to tell my mom why to get this robot, I would tell her that it's because it's quiet. It cleans better than many, as you've attest, most of the robot vacuums, we believe. It's clean, can clean at night, so you can wake up to a clean home. And with big wheels and intelligence, it definitely navigates any part of your home without you having to constantly rescue it. So that's really the beautiful part, that it looks clean when you walk bare feet. It touches because it can mop. Touch-wise, it's clean. Noise-wise, it's clean. And then we will soon add a little smell into the liquid. So it smells fresh as well.
Really? Oh, that's nice.
That's
yes, because I have that. Is it Fanny's or something? The thing
That's
you
correct.
suggested. You put
Yes.
a little bit. So yeah.
But so we're still just getting to that. Right. And then in my mind, the best part is what most people don't realize is that actually with the built-in HEPA filter, right, which is we learn from users that most customers do not actually change their filter or they forget it. It's just such a chore to kind of take it out, wash it. It's a nasty thing. So with each bag, you get a new filter. Right. So in this age, post-COVID world, having allergens and on the bacteria just constantly getting caught up is a
We
big
just
thing.
got done with pollen season.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, this would have been very useful because
Yes.
it would have sucked the pollen out of
Precisely,
it.
precisely.
Yeah.
So keeping air clean. So there was this idea that look, it's a robot that should clean all kinds of stuff: air, noise, floors, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Mehul.
much.
And thank you so much for coming to visit.
Absolutely.
This is great.
This
Anyways,
is you're a beautiful
yeah.
place. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So everybody, definitely
Thank
look
you.
for a link for this in the description, and I'll leave your X
Yes.
link and all of that other good
Please,
stuff.
please do.
And yeah, you can order these now.
You can order this now.
It's amazing.
We'll get shipped in 2 to 4 weeks. Get it before we have to maybe increase the price because of the tariffs.
Yeah,
but
there we go. But you do assemble this in the U.S. though, right?
we do. So we
Yeah,
do.
that's cool.
That's why we're in a little bit better. That was one of the biggest things that we actually do want to make it. It is assembled in US, and we do want to try to manufacture it here as much as possible. Bring the jobs back, things like that. So that was one of the criteria.
So there you go. You're even helping out American manufacturing if you do
Yes.
that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely check out Matic Robotics, and I will see you in the next video. Bye
Sounds
bye.
good. Thank you. Bye.